Well, it's been quite a while, but it is just 1 week away. And when the traditional curtain raiser kicks off for us, the EPL has resumed. It is the most popular league in the world, the best league adjudged by many. Some others might not agree, but then, in this case, it's the voice of the people being the voice of God, as it were. I have the regular OGs with me in the house as it stands, Sam, Adeyemi, and of course, Teresia Folayo. Guys, we're getting into the season of banter, into the season where
cooking.
Cooking. We'll be cooking generally every week steady. But it's great to have you guys doing. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very fine, Sam.
Yeah, morning to you, Mike, and to our viewers. It's nice to be back again. It's the beautiful game.
Now you said nice to be back. Please, Director, do you have those pictures? Sam was in South Korea, and I have a beef with him. The pictures are there. Sam was in South Korea, and incidentally, I don't know just what happened. While Sam was strolling, as he was strolling along the road, this thing sounds like one Nigerian song, as I stroll. Sam was strolling along the road, and incidentally, Sam came across Manchester City players. Sam, tell us about that story. Well, you will get the pictures now.
Yeah, it's just on the street of Seoul, and they're trying to get into the palace.
So where?
Seoul, South Korea.
Okay.
Some people know that.
And
then I just saw...
Give me my soul. You know, say, vivid. Imagine. So that's the soul you're talking about.
Saw John Stones and Calvin Phillips. No, it's not these guys. I just saw them 2 days ago playing a match in Tokyo. So I was surprised to see them on the street. But then, and as you know, I have a soft spot for Manchester City, and because of the way they play and being the best team in the world right about now. So I had to quickly do what any football fan will do.
You take a picture.
Try to catch up with them. And they just had to wait because they're waiting for the pedestrian crossing at that time. So they just quickly took the picture.
Calvin Phillips, I don't have any problem with Calvin Phillips. So is that one that's close to Sam? And why did Sam not choke him something so that... I don't know, Calvin Phillips will not play.
No, I know that. Was it that John Stones?
Fortunately, that's the thing with my fellow journalists that were there. Most everyone couldn't recognize them. And it's obvious because Calvin and Stefan Ortega, who is the second goalkeeper, don't get really to play. So it was just John Stones and I was looking forward to see Alan. But Alan is nowhere to be found.
Stones is very tall. Stones is so tall, man.
But it was a great moment. And then I think about a day after they get to play Atletico Madrid in a friendly
they lost, which
they lost 2-1 or something. So it was a beautiful moment for me to really get to meet these guys. I was really hoping that KDB or Ole Alan.
You didn't see Alan? How?
No, I didn't.
How did you not see Alan? Sam, you need to go back to South.
I think we get to meet him. Right. Maybe we meet in England for the proper thing there.
Oh, yeah, no worries. I shall carry us along.
Wonderful. All right, but let's get straight. Let's just start off with Manchester City. Talking about them. Fabrizio Romano, of course, the #1 authority when it comes to transfers, it's not official by Manchester City yet, but it said that Josko Vardiol has completed his medicals and has reportedly signed a £90 million deal for Manchester City. I spoke to someone, I said, how do you improve the best defense in the world? You go out and buy the best young defender in the world. And that is what Pep Guardiola has just done with this young man.
It's a beautiful thing. I just saw a few minutes before we come on air, I saw pictures of him holding his shirt already.
Oh, number 24.
The man is wearing number 24. So I'm like, is he going to start? Is he not going to start? All of that, we know it doesn't really matter with Pep because there's going to be rotation upon rotation. And he fits into the back three that he gets to play. Sometimes he fits in if he wants to play back four. So it's going to be between himself and Ntanake on the left-hand side of the defense. And we saw Manuel Akonji play that side when Ake was injured. He went from the right side to the left.
Just 1 year ago, Diaz and Laporte were the best center defensive players. And as it stands, both of them are second team now.
Well, something with Manchester City is you don't have a guaranteed starter, except from KDB and Erling Haaland right now. You don't have a guaranteed starting lineup. And one thing with this defender coming in is you basically see rotation. Akonji came in without so much hype, and you see what Akonji has turned into now.
50 million.
John Stones came for 50 million, but was never the world beater at that time.
See, that is let's talk about this now. You can send in messages 0802081547 on WhatsApp. We'll open the phone lines later on. We cannot take calls now, but we can take your messages now. We're talking Manchester City. We'll also mention Liverpool. The reason why I want to mention Liverpool was that this player has gone online, He has gone on paper, even on record, to say that he admires Liverpool and Pep Guardiola and Klopp. He has stated this, and it seemed like Liverpool were on his, on his trail from his performance at the World Cup, But then it so comes to this point now that Pep has gazumped Klopp on this one, and it doesn't seem like defense is where they actually have a need.
No.
Considering that for every position in that defense, they have to. I mean, Cancelo is still not yet gone.
He's still there. To leave.
Walker is still there. But for now, they are still a
Manchester City player.
He's still a Manchester City player. Walker is still there. Akonji, there's Ake, there's Stones, there's Laporte, there's Diaz. I told somebody that if Manchester City should have their second team defense starting again, they are the #1 and #2. There is no. I mean, anybody of that team will walk into any other team in the world. In the world, which team would bench a Diaz?
No, definitely.
Which team in the world would bench a Diaz? Let's be. I mean,
it's one of the beauty of what Pep has done with that team. 90 million at this time seems a lot of money for a defender, 21. But the market forces already put all of this in place. And why do you get to do this? Because there are talks that he is ready to let go of Laporte. So he needs someone almost immediately. I was having a conversation with somebody, and why we have to give a lot of kudos to so many coaches, especially here in Sir Alex Ferguson. How you get to win every year, and you let players go and you replace them without affecting your winning mentality. Pep has been able to do it with this Man City side. Not the same guys that won it, not the Fernandinho, not the David Silva, not the Vincent Kompany, not the Aguero that won his first trophy.
Premier League, yeah.
And he has gone to win the Champions League with these guys. Like you did mention, Ruben Diaz was the best at the time he came in. Same goes for Emery Laporte. Same goes for John Stones. Same goes for Raheem Sterling. All of these guys, he had moved on or made not so superb in that team that other players can come in and they get to play.
Seriously, I want to talk about ruthlessness. He's somebody that has never shown loyalty per se to any single player. Not even KDB.
Yeah.
There were times when KDB was fit and was on the bench. Yes. The only person now that it seems he has some level and is Haaland. Not even KDB. I'm telling you, there were points where he benched KDB and maybe Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, I think he barely stops these guys from starting.
Now, I just want to mention, let's juxtapose Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp, you see him having that fatherly. Jurgen Klopp will stand by you even when the whole world is against you. Jurgen Klopp has called Trent the best right back in the world. I was like, which world are you talking about? Is it the same world that we're living in? Jurgen Klopp has, look at a Van Dijk. A Van Dijk at his peak was called in the names of the pantheons of the greatest EPL defenders of all time. But we know that he's not that defender again, especially after that injury. We know what he does to players when you are out. He was out for 8 months. It was an ACL, right? He was out for 8 months now. He came back. He's not that same player. If it was a Pep, what do you think? Do you think those two players would even still be in the team?
No, the thing is, Pep actually moves on from a player very easily. If you tell him, I want to leave Manchester City, he would allow you. I think the only player that actually has a soft spot in Pep's heart is Lionel Messi. And of recent, we've seen Erling Haaland. Haaland started almost every game in the Premier League last season. Even when he had won the Golden Boots, he was still starting. Alvarez could not start. So, it's actually so surprising that Pep is actually sticking with Haaland. But when you tell Pep you want to leave, see what has happened to Gundogan. Pep wanted him to stay, but he said he doesn't want to stay, and then he has brought in another midfielder from Chelsea, Kovacic. So, the way he recruits is actually...
Talking about midfield now, there's talk about Bernardo Silva. Barca are still interested in him. Barca just received about 25 million.
25 million?
For Dembele.
Oh.
Because the Dembele deal is 50, and actually, according to... I don't know
the clause.
Signs and the clause. I don't know how they sign the clause. It's supposed to be split down in half. Dembele will get 25 with his agent, and then 25 will go to Barca. However, they have a little money. Bernardo Silva, from every indication, has shown that even from last season, he wanted to go. But the point is that did Barca have enough funds? That's another thing to recruit him. No. But now there is talk that they are still interested and they might push through for a deal for Bernardo Silva. Do you see that happening? Bernardo Silva to Barcelona.
Yeah, I think Pep made a comment about recently that yes, he can never hold on to any player that wants to leave, and if Barcelona are interested, they need to pay the money. I do know that with the current market, Bernardo will not go for anything less than 50. With the current market.
You're saying 50?
that's a minimum. That's minimum. But for Barcelona, do they need a Bernardo? And I find why do you need a Bernardo? They're getting just 15 million pounds from Kessie moving to Al Hilal. It's not like they're getting a lot of money.
No, 15 plus 25 equals to 40. At least you say 50.
Nico Gonzalez. Yeah, because I'm looking at where they can get this
money together.
Nico Gonzalez going to
10
FC
million,
Porto, there's really not much money there. Julian Araujo, that they went all out for in January from MLS. And they are chasing him on loan right up.
The question is that why would a Bernardo and even a Gundogan, what is that appeal in Barca?
The club.
It's the club, right?
Yeah, that's it. So
The
they know
pedigree
that
of the club.
The pedigree.
There are clubs like
He was
that.
a supporter of Barcelona when
Madrid,
he was a kid.
Barcelona, they will always
just want
attract
national
players.
I mean, he has won. So think about it. They've won everything they can with Manchester City. So why not go to this
Just fulfill
club?
the dream of playing for your
That
club.
club.
That's
Okay,
just it.
all right. Moving on from that now, let's see what other story that we have here. Aha. Well, it's Hurricane. Hurricane is still in the news. And as it stands, when I look at Hurricane issue and the transfer and all of that, I have a feeling, or I am inclined to say that Hurricane is not a ambitious player. He's not an ambitious person.
At all.
I don't think so.
It's just like a normal Nigerian footballer that
I don't think so.
satisfied with the money they are collecting at their club.
No, I don't think it's about fun because if it's about, I'm sure his salary should be, if not
No,
almost
it's not his
or
salary.
more.
No, I'm talking about ambition.
He's not ambitious enough.
So it's
he should put for the move.
there is not. He tried this last year.
Every single body, every
He
single
tried it.
player
I
that
said
left
he
under
tried this
Daniel
2
Levy
years ago.
that was relevant.
He tried it.
Why
And
didn't
Mancity
he
was
call,
ready to pay
why
as
didn't you
much
call
as...
why didn't you call Modric and Bale and ask them how they did it?
How they did it?
And it's exactly to the same
Lamela
club.
left.
It's the same club. They know. See, there's a template. You know what Bale did? Bale stopped training. Because Daniel Levy, as it stands, he will not let you go like that. He will not.
But
And according to last season, they said he had a gentleman's agreement. And it did not make sense. It shows that this man doesn't care about talk. It's been shown that he's about one of the most ruthless managers and administrators in football. Daniel Levy, he said he had a gentleman's agreement with Kane, but he said, look, we don't have anybody to replace you. You are not going.
They should go for Gift Urban. Gift Urban is
But I feel this is a landmark one for him. The man is 30.
But if
he needs
he
to
wants
go
it, he should just...
And if he wants to go, Bayern has already put it. We are not going further than 80, and that's it. And I think that's a fair valuation for him at his age. And Spurs should just take this. Bayern are not pushing further. It's all left to Daniel Levy to accept this deal and let him go. Then they can start scoring the entire Europe for strikers. Victor Osimhen will go for about 140.
Sam, you know what? 15 players pay part of their transfer fees. So I would suggest...
So unfortunately, it's not about that. I think he still has about 3 years left on his contract or so.
Bayern have reportedly made their final offer.
Oh, yes, and they...
100? Is it up to 100?
No, it's not up to 100. They're not going... I think they're doing 85. That's maximum. And they're not going further.
There's no add-ons.
Everything 85. But the thing is, the player can actually add his own money. We've seen
that's what he said. So there's talk about him also trying to buy out the remainder of his contract.
No, it's got about 3 years left, I think.
No, it's his final year. Hurricane is his final year. He just has 1 year left.
So if you want to pay 85 million,
Hurricane just has 1 year left.
1 year left. I don't know why 1 year level will be holding on to him there.
Well, the point is, as it stands, like I said, I wish, I would love to see this man win trophies. We don't want him at the end of his career.
He's
one of the
already.
Greatest.
He won one.
No, unofficial cup. We're not talking about unofficial. We're talking about the competitive cups.
Like I said, this cup.
But Tottenham won a cup just recently. Like about a week ago, Tottenham won a cup. All of you can agree.
Okay, wait.
With
He
that.
has won the Audi Cup. He has won
Sam, please, we should leave here. We're asking for. Did they call animal we get home? Snail if we don't come out.
Just like Arsenal just won a cup as well. These are trophies that we reside.
Don't put Arsenal.
If you're a Tottenham Arsenal fan, you should come for Sam.
Don't put Arsenal in the context. Arsenal might win the competition.
Let's just take a few messages on social media here on our WhatsApp group here. Ajala from Jos says, good morning, guys. Nice job. When I saw Pep going for Kovacic, I knew he was cooking something. Now it's obvious with the signing of this boy because Kovacic is not as good as Calvin Phillips, who sits on the bench. That's Ajala from Jos.
But they play different role. And that's why Kovacic has had more minutes, even in the preseason, than Calvin Phillips.
Mubarak from Jankara says, Manchester City can still win the Champions League next season. I think so. They can. Because they look more deadly than before. And Arsenal is definitely losing tomorrow. We'll get to that. Okay? Good morning, guys. You all are looking sharp, man. Forget Pep will cry this season. No hate. You didn't drop your name. I've given you some acknowledgement there. But yeah, he says Pep will cry this season. No hate. We are plenty. We are wishing Pep to cry. He picked treble.
He won't cry.
He picked treble. You are saying he will cry again. We pick Sextuple. That's what happened. Okay, all right. But then let's move over to this other story now. Tchouaméni is in the news. They said Bayern and, of course, Manchester United. Tchouaméni, we know how Real Madrid pushed for him. I mean, this was a player that it seemed like he was going to Liverpool. And then according to the story, the moment his agent said Madrid were interested, he said, look, make it happen. He went to Madrid. We expected that he would be, I mean, considering that Luka Modric and
but he started because he started the game because it was almost Casemiro left, so he just fits in straight up. But then after a few games, it wasn't really working. So Valverde was out to, and then Eduardo Camavinga was also
Tchouaméni as a DM. He cannot do. I would say he's your CM.
But it's the Pogba role, if I can use that word.
Exactly, maybe a Pogba role, and for that kind of player, you need an enforcer behind him or beside him. Somebody that can actually tackle the ball. Yeah, an enforcer. Tchouaméni is not going to go into the hard tackles. The point is, if you're going to play 4-3-3, if you're going to put a Tchouaméni and say maybe a Valverde, and if you're looking at the recycling and maybe a Camavinga, I'm talking about, or even a Modric and a Cruz, there's no enforcer there.
But they don't have a destroyer. That's
what I'm saying. There's no destroyer. There's nobody there to break that, and that would be a problem.
Even your Camavinga is being deployed as a left back. So the thing is, no DM that can actually make those tackles.
And so it seems doomed to fail in that if you're planning to use him for that role, if he's going to be a 6.
I don't think I really don't want this move because he's got a similar fee with a certain James Rodriguez. 80 million. Then that they had a very good first season and then coming into the second season, then they started falling apart.
So
and they eventually left the club.
His last season was very good.
He has a good season. Yeah, at least for his, and then he breaks into the national team as well. All of that. So he has a good season. I don't think for Madrid they should let him go because he is part of that young 4 that they are building right now. If you add a goal to it, that makes it 5. So with all of that, he's a guy that was going to get them something. So I don't see reason why they should let him go. And you can't pay that so much money for a player, and you probably be letting him go for half of that. It's not a good deal.
All right.
So Tchouaméni should stay. Ancelotti is probably having his last season. You should get the best out of him to also help to build that team for Madrid going forward with Camavinga, Bellingham, and Valverde.
Exactly. There's now a Bellingham there.
So because Bellingham is being pushed forward.
They still don't have a DM to make that happen.
Bellingham is being seen as a number 8
or 10.
Or a number 10.
I would say traditional 10 for a Bellingham. Because if you are still pushing for an Mbappe, there's still a lot around this thing. If you're still pushing for an Mbappe, that means that you're going to play 3 in front. If Mbappe is going to
at this time, all through the preseason, he's been trying with the 2 forward men. Yes,
that's
with a diamond midfield. Yeah.
Okay, that's if you're playing a Vinicius Junior and what's his name now?
Joselu, there's Joselu or
Rodrigo. Yeah. But the point is that if Mbappe comes in, it's going to be a 4-3-3 or 4-5-1 or 4-2-3-1.
Somebody up front.
I find it hard to have a Bellingham.
But that will also depends on the coach that comes in after Ancelotti.
And that's a problem. You see, when a coach announces he's leaving,
I have a lot of problem with
it's
that.
Uncertainty.
I know it's not from Ancelotti, it's the Brazilian FA, and
they should not have announced
it. Have done that.
Because you see, that uncertainty, players that are coming in now, am I still
it happened with Mancity when Pellegrini was leaving and then Pep Guardiola was coming in.
So many players it never goes well. It never goes well. Sir Alex Ferguson said exactly the same thing. That's why he came back, and when he wanted to retire, it just happened. At the end of the match, he just came up, picked a mic, I'm going. You remember that? You remember
that final game?
That final game. He said because when he did it the first time, he knew how it messed the team up. Because, this person has been for so long. Who's coming in next and all of that? But yeah.